Nice to see you, Beryl.
The hair looks nice.
Well, she's got a good hairdresser.
Yes.
Much better than mine.
Let's see
Of
yours.
course, it's short tonight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you take the Tracy?
Yes, but I'm not taking it home with me.
Is Louise? Is Andrew in shul? Louise?
Andrew is in shul, yes.
Can't see him.
He's probably hiding.
He's probably behind one of the posts.
Probably.
Well, he usually is, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm here, but I'm socially distancing from my mum. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom, Berna.
It's definitely me.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh, of course, they're at the front, aren't they?
Weird.
Amen.
No.
Where are the different views? There we are. Anyway, you can see everyone else now. Better mute.
We can also hear you.
No, I'm about to mute.
ומביא גואל לבניהם למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומשיח מגן ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו אברהם, מה שתיבול אליו אדוני מחיים, יצמחת הרוב לא שיעה, מחלקת חיים וחסד מחיים, יציב רחמים רבים. תומך נפלים ברופא החולים ומתי רסולי ומחיים ונותו לשני אפה, מי כמוך בארץ ומי דומה לך מלך נביאים חיים, מצמיח ישועה, ונאמן לצד החיות ברוך אתה אדוני בחיי המתים. יקדש ישיבך בלוק, השם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, כתוב על יד ובחפת על זה ויאמר קדוש 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 אדוני ספור מלוך כל הארץ כבודו ליומתם בראש ומרו ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו ותברך לשתך חצוב לאמור אם לא כל אדוני מלאי ציון לדורותיו הללויה לדוד ואדון תדעו לכבודך ולנצח נצחים ושתך נקדיש בשבחך אלוהים נפנו אלוהים מסוים בעת כי המלך קדוש קדוש אתה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש אתה כונן לאדם דעת כונן כונן מתחדש ונבח ברוך אתה אדוני כונן הדעת תשבינו אבינו שורתך וקרבנו מבחינה עבודתך ואחרינו תשועה שלנו כונן ברוך אתה אדוני הרוצה בתשובה סלח לנו אבינו אתה מאפיינו השרת ונופל בסלח אתה ברוך אתה אדוני חנון המרבה לסוח ואהב ועוני ריבה ריבנו ועולנו מהר למען שמך כי גודל חזק אתה ברוך אתה אדוני גואל ישראל רפאנו אדוני ונרפא משה ונמשע כי סלעתנו חכה והמלא רפואה שלמה לכל מסתנו כי המלך רופא נאמן ורחמן אתה ברוך אתה אדוני רופא חולה עמו ישראל ברך עלינו אדוני אלוהינו את השנה הזאת וכל מעט ואתה לטובה ותן ברכה על פני האדמה ושבענו מצווך וברך שנתן את השנים הטובות ברוך אתה אדוני וברך השנים תקע בשבוע קודם הפרק ונוסנס ותפץ כלמתנו וחפציני יחד מהבת כמות הארץ ברוך אתה אדוני וקבץ לידכם עמו ישראל השיבה שופטנו כבר ראשונה ויועצנו בתחילה ועשה ממני הכל והנחה לחלינו אתה אדוני לבטחם וברחמים קצת השם ומשפט ברוך אתה אדוני מלך אוהב צדקה ומשפט ולמען השנים חצי דבר וכל השחרים שהפרק עובד כל אוהב כמה יראה קורצו מלכות אדם מהרה תחם שווה את מגן ותקניע במהרה וימינו ברוך אתה אדוני שווה אוהבים ומנחמיה הזידים על הצדיקים ועל החסידים ועל סיכונים המוחיים בית ישראל ועל פייצות סופריהם ועל קוראי הצדקה עלינו רחמך עלינו ותן לכל החוץ משפחה ממנו ושמחתנו עמהם לעולם ולא נבשתי בך ותך ברוך אתה אדוני נשארנו מובטח לצדיקים ולירושלים מרחב הרחמים תשוב תשכון משפחה כשהתבעת נערת בקרוב בימים ציון אליו וכיסא דוד מהרה לתוכה תקים ברוך אתה אדוני עולה ירושלים ושמח דוד אבטך מהרה תצמיח וקרנות וברושלתך כאילו שבתך קיבינו כל היום ברוך אתה אדוני מצמיח קרן ישועה שמע קולנו אדוני אלוהינו וחוס ברחם עלינו וקבל ברחמים ורצון תתפלסנו כי אל שומע ולא תתקנו מטה ולפניך מלכנו ורקם על שכנו כי אתה שומע תפילת עמך ישראל ברחמים ברוך אתה אדוני שומע תפילה ורצה אדוני אלוהינו ועמך ישראל ותפילתם והשם את העבודה לדבי ביתך ואישי ישראל ותפילתם באהבת ורצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך ותחזינו בלי נפשוק חלץ יום ברחמים ברוך אתה אדוני המחזי שכינתו לציון אמן. בכל החיים ודוחת אליו יהללו את שמך באמת האלה שואתים ועזרתנו סלע ברוך אתה אדוני התושיב לך ולחנה אלו הודות שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום ואותו בעיניך לברך שמך ישראל וכל עת וכל שעה וישמעך ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. Katovi Kadash Meraba, Mali Rakute, Amnechate, Kongamon, Payet, Tovit, Bagalav, Mankori, Ibru, Amen. Amen. Yeshmeraba, Lamala, Maya, Barak, Shabbat, Avi, Monkey, Nasevi, Tadavi, Talevi, Talash, Medishabari, Elami, Kolbaka, Shata, Patavinet Matadi, Raga, Ibru, Amen. Titabas, Lotahon, Damahon, Mishmaya, Ibru, Amen. Yesh Lama, Rabba, Mishmaya, Faim, Malika, Israel, Ibru, Amen. Shalom, Yeruma, Yas, Shalom, Malika, Israel, Ibru, Amen. Alleluia, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So just a quick note before we begin Kabbalat Shabbat, which is a welcome to you all here, a welcome to all those who are joining us on Zoom. The guidelines that we put out suggest that tell us that we shouldn't be singing in full singing voice. So full singing voice would be where you're kind of projecting nicely from the diaphragm and where you're really putting out the voice up there. So that might sound a little bit like that sort of full singing voice, okay? So not full singing voice is permitted, and we have masks on. So not singing voice would sound a bit like. Okay, so just I don't think we need to have any shushing, but if we can just modulate our voices so that the aerosols are not spreading into the room, just being a bit more careful. Not full singing voice is fine. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Falsetto, not full singing. Falsetto, not full singing. I think falsetto.
That's for the cousin.
Pardon?
That's for the cousin.
We'll find out. I think for the cousin, because you're facing this way, it's all right.
You're in danger.
Pardon?
You're in danger.
I'll stand to one side. That's on the cousin off. Okay, good. Well, without further ado, this being my first Shabbat back in here since I came on full time. Right, let's do it.
Share Shalom Good Shabbos. Welcome back. Yeah. I shouldn't pretend. Sorry. There we go. So the new setup is, in order to make what we do as accessible as possible, is we're going to have the main sermon tonight, and then we'll have an additional Dvar Torah tomorrow. So double the fun for you, double the work for me. It's quitting everybody. It's really wonderful to be back in shul. Very, very special. And it's very special to have everyone here on Zoom as well. There's quite a number of people logged in this evening. And so it's really lovely. There's so many in the community celebrating Shabbat, the entrance of Shabbat together. And just a particular thank you to everyone that has made it possible for us to be here from Sunday throughout the whole week and to be here this evening, because it's no mean feat to be able to do what Barnet Shul has done. Many United Synagogues haven't even opened their doors, or have only opened their doors in a very minimal way. Even shuls that are much larger than our own. And so Yasher Koyach to Tony Cohen and his entire team. Right? This is an amazing, amazing operation, and we are committed to ensuring the vitality of this community whilst being safe and respecting everyone's preferences and all the needs that are there. So I think we are treading that right balance, and so we're going ahead. The Yasher Koyach. It's really strange to be in shul for the first time with people. Okay, yesterday we had a fast day. We had a fast day, Shiva Shabbat Tammuz, the 17th of Tammuz. What are the different things that we commemorated on that day? Anyone? You're allowed to speak on Zoom as well. I can unmute you. First breaching of the walls. First and second breaching of the walls of the city of Jerusalem. That's one thing. What else happened on Shiva Shabbat Tammuz? On the 17th of Tammuz? Apostomus, the Roman general, publicly burnt the Torah, and then what did he do? He took an idol and set it up in the Heichal, in the inner sanctuary of the temple. That's number 2.
Hello.
Okay. That's right. Number 3. The Luchot were broken. Fantastic. And we have one more. Number 4. One more. Cessation. It's a lovely word, babe. Cessation. That's right. So the continual offering, the Tamid offering that happened morning and afternoon in the temple. So at this point, the siege by the Romans meant that there was no longer sacrifices, no longer animals available for sacrifices. We'll have to talk another time about the appropriateness of animal sacrifices, but that was the point that sacrifices stopped in the temple. Okay, so let's play a little game, which is the odd one out. We've got 4 things. The first one, breaching of the walls. Second of all, apostomus, burning a Sefer Torah and putting up an idol in the sanctuary. Third one, the shattering of the tablets. Those 2, the tablets when Moshe came down from the mountain, saw the golden calf and shattered the tablets. And the fourth one, the cessation of the daily offering in the temple. Which one is the odd one out? 1, 2, 3, or 4? 3. That's right. Okay, Zechariah, our Chatan, has got full prizes because it doesn't seem like number 3 fits with the rest. Everything else is about temple destruction and disintegration. We have the breaching of the walls of Jerusalem, the onslaught of the Roman army. We have, or the armies against Israel. We have apostomus burning the Sefer Torah and desecrating the Heichal, desecrating the sanctuary. We have the ending of the cessation of the daily offering, which is, again, it's all temple-based, Jerusalem-based. But then the shattering of the tablets does not seem to fit. It's the odd one out. So we're left with the question, what is Shiva Asar B'Tammuz really about? Is it just a collection of Jewish calamity? And we do have another day like that, right? The 9th of Av. That seems like it is the collection of Jewish calamity. So maybe here also it's just a collection of Jewish calamity on that day. Or maybe there's a theme that runs through Shiva Asar B'Tammuz that can be relevant, that we can learn about, and can maybe make this day even more relevant and poignant to this particular moment of returning to shul during lockdown. What do you think? Should we try? Okay, so the thesis will be that the odd one out, the breaking of the tablets, will be the key to understanding what the rest symbolize and how they can be maybe relevant to us.
So can I ring you back in a minute?
You can ring it back in a minute. That's
Okay, bye. Bye.
okay. We all have to be elastic, right? So let's go back to that time. Moshe has gone up to the mountain. He's there for 40 days and 40 nights learning the Torah, and the entire nation are encamped at the foot of the mountain. And then something begins to stir in the camp. Vayar ha'am ki boshesh Moshe. The nation saw that Moses was tarrying. Laredet min ha'ha, to come down from the mountain. They were waiting. They knew 40 days, that was the time. And then they seem to see that he's not coming down. Vayikahel ha'am al Aaron, and the nation gathered to Aaron, Vayomer Elav, and they said to Aaron, Come make us a god that will go in front of us. Because this man, Moses, that took us out from the land of Egypt, we don't know where he's gone. Before you know it, they're turning over their gold and their jewels to Aaron, and they're making it a big cauldron, and they're burning down, they're smelting down the metal, and they're making a golden calf. And they say to this statue, here, this Israel is your God who took you out of Egypt, pointing at the golden calf. Are you crazy? This is the God that took you out from Egypt? They've just been through the splitting of the sea, the 10 plagues, the giving of the Torah. They've heard God's voice, and now they're pointing to the golden calf and saying, you are the God that took us out from Egypt. It doesn't seem to make sense. But actually, if we go back a little bit further, it doesn't seem like the cow's the only thing they're confused about. When they don't know what happened to Moshe, they say, Elohim Moshe yelchu lefanenu. They want a God to walk in front of them. They want a God to walk in front of them. But let's just work out the calculation here. They want a God to walk in front of them, but they're missing Moshe. What have they just done? What's the error that they've just made? They said, we need a God because Moses isn't here. What have they just equated Moses to? God, absolutely. Somehow Moses has taken on, somewhere in their minds, godly proportions, a demigod, if you will. But then they call Moshe Ha'ish. They say Moses the man, who took us out of Egypt. All of a sudden it's like it's Moshe the human being, the man who's taken them out of Egypt, not God. It's almost as if actually God isn't in the picture anymore. Moses the man was the agent for their exodus. There's so much confusion. How could this be? How could they confuse Moshe for God? That he's the man, the demigod that took them out of Egypt, and not God himself. And then, but maybe this is the God, the new God, the cow. It seems really strange. But if you think about the story, this isn't the first time they've tried to replace Moses for God. Because at the giving of the Torah, when they heard God's voice, they did the same thing again. They're hearing the 10 Commandments and they're in a panic. They're in a flurry because it's so overwhelming to hear the voice of God. They can't manage it anymore. And they say to Moshe, Daber ata imanu v'nishma. You speak. Please, Moshe, you speak with us and we'll listen. But don't let God talk to us anymore. Penamut, lest we die. It's too much to hear God's voice. It's too overwhelming, too overbearing. You, Moshe, you go and you be the person to speak to us. So to speak, you be the mouthpiece of divinity. We don't want the real thing. We need an intermediary. So now their intermediary, their mouthpiece, their demigod has disappeared. Maybe they're wondering if anyone can take the heat, so to speak, in the presence of God. Maybe even Moshe, the great Moshe himself, cannot take the heat, cannot stand there for 40 days and 40 nights and not come out burnt, unscathed and dead. So what are they going to do? Let's just make a God who will walk in front of us. Let's just have something as a barrier in front of us. Something to be a barrier between us and God, because it's too much. Nothing can stand in God's way. It's too much for us all, even for Moshe. When you think about it, it's kind of cute on some level. Imagine we just recently started Yiska at school. She started school for the first time. It's very exciting. She's going to year 1. She's at Noam in Edgware. and she's absolutely loving it. But the first day, you wondered whether there was maybe going to be something awry. And so Shoshana put something in her school bag, just put a little note in her school bag to let her know that it's okay, that mummy and daddy are with her. Just a little note to let her know that she's loved. But to almost be a barrier between the intensity of school and this little girl. To let her know that mummy and daddy are still with her. Now, it's cute when it happens between a parent and a child, when there's a security blanket, so to speak, there. But when it's in the way of a relationship between us and God, then it can maybe be a problem. Maybe then that can create distance and a barrier to real relationship. And this is exactly what happened with the golden calf. First, the people want Moshe to be the barrier between them and God. But now Moshe's not there, so then they would need another barrier. An egel masecha. It's known as an egel masecha in the Torah. Masecha there literally, or in its basic level meaning, is a molten calf. But masach also means a mask, a covering, the calf of the mask. The mask between the relationship, the direct relationship between Am Yisrael, between the people of Israel and Hashem. And Moshe can see this when he comes down from the mountain. He can see they're seeking a mask. And so what does he do? He sees they're looking for symbols. They're looking for something to connect with. And so he looks at these tablets that he's holding in his hand. And he says, this is part of the problem. It's a symbol. It's an icon. It's not the real deal. And if they're seeking icons and symbols in cards, in me, then the tablets aren't going to be right either. And he smashes the tablets on the floor. And if that is the theme of the smashing of the tablets, to remove iconography, to remove barriers, to remove images between us and our relationship with God, then let's look at the other things that happen on Shiva Asar B'Tammuz and see if there's a common theme here. We said the first one was the breaching of the walls. The walls of Jerusalem, the holy city, a special place to have a relationship with God, an icon almost. Sometimes when I'm davening, I'll close my eyes and I'll imagine being at the Kotel, or I'll imagine being in one of the shuls that I used to frequent in Yerushalayim. Some way of connecting. No. That's an iconography. That is trying to use a tool to connect. It's not direct connection in itself. Apostomus, burning a Sefer Torah, taking the icon of our people, an icon that has been burned throughout the ages, to demonstrate the victory of others over the Jew, and then placing an idol in the Heichal, undermining the iconography of the temple, and then the Tamid offering ending. An offering which happened every day. It was the fundamental beating heart of the temple, a symbol of God accepting our prayers. All the symbols, all the icons destroyed on Shiva Asar B'Tammuz. Because maybe underneath it all on this day, God is saying, just connect to me directly. Stop looking for ways in that are indirect, that require an intermediary. Just be with me. Just have a relationship with me. So we are back in shul. And I know for many of us, we've been looking forward to coming to a place, a house of connection. But I think the real challenge for us is to be able to connect without these walls, without this context, to not have to need shul to daven, to not have to need all the appurtenances that we arrange around ourselves in order to feel connected, to be able to walk in the streets of Barnet and be as connected there as we are here, as we are in Jerusalem, because God is simply waiting to be spoken to. So my invitation to us all this Shabbat, a little challenge, is we're going to now, in a few moments, bring in Shabbat. We're going to close off to our Zoom friends and say good Shabbos. We're going to put away all the muktzah items for those of us who have them over here. And we're going to daven in shul. But then after we go out of shul, or after we turn off the Zoom, maybe when we're walking through the streets and walking home, just take 30 seconds to say a little word, direct word to Hashem. A little personal prayer outside of these walls, outside of the iconography, knowing that He's always there for that relationship. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbos, everyone.